Hi Aries, welcome to your January 2017 love reading. It's Rena here. As you can see, I have already pulled up the cards because I started just rambling and I don't know what got into me. And I wanted to make it more concise. One thing that I wanted to say is that I did pull that card I always pull, the Six of Cups, which is one of the interpretations of it is the soulmate card. And I keep pulling it up in my general readings, in my private readings, and I was trying to kind of figure out why I keep pulling it up. There must be some greater message for the public, and that was kind of what I was rambling on about. And basically, my feeling is that people are starting to care about how they feel in their lives. They're not just running on automatic. They're not just working at jobs because, you know, they were told that if they don't do this or that, they're going to end up on the street or they're not going to have enough money for retirement. They're not willing to sacrifice today for tomorrow or for, 10 years from now. Even in personal relationships, same thing. People are not willing to just fall into line and necessarily be with somebody just because they want to have a family. I was saying before that some people aren't even having families. I know people in their 30s who are still child free, you could say. You don't have to say childless, but they don't have children and they aren't married. And, people like that are the exception rather than the rule, but they're getting more and more common. So some of you out there may be in that place where you want to have a partner, but you're not going to settle. And this is kind of like, I think the soulmate card kind of says, don't settle. But anyway, Aries, your overall vibe here is one of something is making you anxious. And so this is something that can be that something is bothering you. It could be due to an air sign individual, so a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Now, these air signs just on the surface are very compatible with an Aries person. Your opposite sign is Libra. Jupiter is currently in Libra, so Jupiter is in your 7th house of committed partnerships, so that's good. But as I explained in my 2017 video for Aries, there are some definite challenges to for what is happening right now. You may feel like certain aspects of your life are beyond your control, and that may be giving you anxiety. Maybe it's the best thing that ever happened to you to feel a little bit of anxiety so that you relinquish control. It doesn't have to be a bad thing at all, because sometimes I remember reading about the Nine of Swords that, this is the Morgan Greer deck, and in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, they have a woman who is sitting up and she's got a quilt on her bed, and she's got, it's the, I'm talking about the Nine of Swords, but they were saying that there are these little flowers on the quilt, and it's showing that it's not as bad as she's acting like it is. So it could be something that you're blowing up out of proportion. And that makes me think about situations where people cannot control something, and so it bothers them much more than it should. In the past position, we have the Page of Wands. So this is a very positive card. This can actually indicate the beginning of a relationship. So maybe you started a new relationship and something about it has made you, has triggered anxiety within you. And it's possible that, it could be because maybe you feel like this is the one and you don't want to get close to somebody for whatever reason. Maybe it's kind of like freaking you out that this is a different feeling than you had before. The Page of Wands is very enthusiastic. It can relate to children. So, I mean, if there's any concern about maybe finding out about somebody that you know or that you've been involved with has children and they didn't disclose that when you started dating. It could be with a fire sign individual that's in your past. So that would be either an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I don't know if it's associated with any particular of those three fire signs. I would just, off the top of my head, I thought Aries, because I think of Aries as a young energy. It's the first fire sign, and Page is like kind of the beginnings of something. Now, pages can be messages, and we do have a Mercury retrograde happening. This is going to be affecting it's going to start in your 9th house in the sign of Capricorn. Oh no, I'm sorry, the 10th house. And it will be going back into the 9th house, into Sag. And actually, at the time, I don't have my ephemeris out, but I believe that it will probably be in Sag as the month of January begins, because it's going to retrograde on December 19th. And I know that some of you will be watching before December 19th. And so just to give you guys the heads up, that this begins in your 10th house of career. So maybe your anxiety is about something other than a relationship. Maybe you started a relationship and now you're preoccupied with some kind of career anxiety. I will say, because this is like coming up with that, is that you have the Ace of Pentacles, a really nice solid beginning, and it could be a new job offer. So that should take care of any anxiety if you're looking for work, because with the retrograde in the 10th house, it can slow things down there. So if you were like between jobs and you were applying, talking to people in those high positions, something may transpire that makes it difficult for you to how shall I say it, seal the deal. Okay, and so don't worry. Then Mercury will go direct on the 8th, and then it'll gain degrees and go back into your 10th house. So it might be a period of like a month before it goes back to that position at an early degree of Capricorn. So I'm thinking like, towards the end of the month, without knowing. Maybe even before that. So I'm not entirely sure, but at some point in January, you will see Mercury going out of its shadow. And then, you should start to feel like everything is progressing forward. So don't be impatient for something to transpire for you if that's what's going on. It might not, this is a general reading. Not every Aries person is out of work looking for work. But it doesn't have to be somebody who's out of work. It could be something within the corporation, the company, that is kind of like maybe a raise, or actually a promotion, I meant. Something like that. You could have a new, there might be somebody that you meet on the job. And it could also relate to an earth sign that you're dealing with. What I was trying to say about pages is that they can relate to messages. So that can be something that, maybe even some of you have engaged in online kind of stuff. There is going to be a full moon. I'm recording this on the 9th of December, so there's going to be a full moon on the 13th of December in Gemini, and that is your 3rd house of communication and the internet. So full moons can bring discoveries, they can bring endings. So that could be something that shows that Page of Wands in the past position that leads you to anxiety. If you were dating somebody online and you were doing a little bit of snooping and you found out that, maybe they misrepresented themselves. I'm just giving potential examples of what could be causing you to feel that way. But there's, you're flanked by, that Nine of Swords is flanked by two positive cards. So I also had a similar situation for Pisces. So even when you think, oh crap, it's the Nine of Swords, I don't want January to be defined by anxiety. Well, it doesn't have to be that at all. It could just mean that is your challenge. Even though it's not the challenge card, it's like the centerpiece. So it's something to kind of look at. And, if you look at it before even January, that's even more of an opportunity to kind of not have it transpire. And of course, again, this is a general reading, so it doesn't mean that it's going to transpire. Once I realized that myself when I was watching other tarot readings, it made me feel a lot better. Like, I used to take everything literally when I would watch other people, and it was so anxiety producing, because sometimes you pick really great cards and sometimes you pick cards that are challenging. And, you have to be able to handle that, and also to know that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. The higher message is the Emperor card, and this is your card, believe it or not. This is associated with Aries. I associate it with Capricorn, so, for what it's worth. They always tell us when we interpret to, go with what we think. So maybe there is a Capricorn individual involved in your life. And I did, as I say, the Ace of Pentacles is definitely, an earth energy. So it could be a Capricorn or a Taurus or a Virgo. But that could be the person that is right for you. It could also be showing that it's the more mature version of yourself. So it's right underneath the Nine of Swords, which is kind of an out of control feeling. The Emperor is all about control. And the Emperor is a has self-mastery, is able to, impress people with his status in society. He's not somebody who is insecure, some of the traits to watch out for if you consider yourself the Emperor is rigidity of thought, black and white thinking, and a need for control, too much control. So this could be speaking of that, of a person that is like that in your life, who is exerting too much control, and it's, making you feel anxious. That's always a possibility. So if that is the case, the Emperor card is just the universe's way of kind of reminding you there's a way to ease your anxiety. It's called not being with a person that is too controlling. And that person may be, the kind of person who feels like they can't feel significant in their own life unless they're trying to control somebody else's, and they may not be very quite resistant to any suggestion that they need to change. And that may be why you feel trapped or feel anxious, because you say there's nowhere to go. This person is not willing to respect my needs. And it's true. Sometimes there is nothing you can do. But it's all good, because when we don't try to resist what is, there's a sense of freedom in that. When we try to impose our will on the universe, it's not going to necessarily end well. So whatever is, it is on their part. Maybe they're not willing to change. The advice is the Ten of Swords. So I got the Nine of Swords, and now I get the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is about a sense of being stabbed in the back and a sense of maybe betrayal. In this context as advice, I think it's acknowledging that you've hit bottom, and I don't think it's personally, I think it's in a particular relationship. And it could be, again, it could be with somebody who is an air sign. So again, it could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Even though the Emperor is associated with Aries, he does have a sword also in his hand. So it may be emphasizing this this person. And of course, even if the swords person they may not be an actual air sign. It may be very prominent in their chart. Maybe they're a fellow Aries with a moon in Gemini. Just for an example, you never know. But it's you know what it is? It's like as soon as you acknowledge that this is toast, this relationship is done for, there's a sense of freedom, because you know that you have to see things as they really are, that you no longer can look the other way. And even though your life may temporarily be put into a bit of upheaval, for instance, if you have to, get divorced or whatever the thing is, the bottom line is, if you're always are, going towards your happy place or your ideal life, even if it's messy temporarily, the ultimate goal is so worth it, So it's like you have to be willing to see the end game, and have an end game, and see where you're going towards, and not worry too much about the in between. And then this is the outcome, is the Six of Cups. So whether it's somebody that you've met that you feel is more compatible with you, and maybe you're in anguish that that you had to choose, or that you didn't want to hurt your partner, this is soulmate material. Somebody that you meet because you made space for it. You weren't like, you didn't have these loose ends with a prior relationship. And also, you demonstrated to the universe that you were willing to go after your desires. And that is very important. And it's funny, because I forgot to mention the challenge card, which is the Four of Cups. Now, which one is more of a challenge, the upright or the reversed? I think that I would just say that the challenge in all of this is to be willing to see how you allow yourself to just, run on automatic in life. Because first of all, you're a fire sign. You're a cardinal fire sign. You're all about new beginnings. But Aries can get embroiled in relationships like anyone else. The Page of Wands, that first card in the upper left, is a card of enthusiasm and new beginnings. New beginnings, maybe messages that make you feel like, something great is on the horizon, communications that are very positive. And it could be with work too. There you have that card. Now look at that portal. That's a new beginning for you somehow. There's a doorway to walk through to a new life. And you see the ocean on the other side. And, what's the color of healing? Green, but I think blue also. Blue may be wisdom. But healing and wisdom are things that, when you invest in them, it's just like when you have money, you have a choice of where you're going to spend that money. And wherever you spend it, that's what you increase, that's what you, put stock in. And it's kind of like your saying, this is what I want. This is what I want, more of this. And so if you want that freedom and a new life, then the answer is to get away from this mentality of bondage, this sense of anxiety that's a mental thing that you've done to yourself. And with the Emperor, if he will ever get focused, I just like using that zoom. That Emperor is, a facet of you that maybe needs to change. Maybe you need to be more willing to cooperate with other people and also cooperate with yourself. If you know something is not working, and this is like this, this is a, oh, I better pull it back, a little bit too intense. This person is like a blank slate, or they're just like a blank stare. There's nothing there. There's no joy in that person's face. It's just like a blank wall. And that's the kind of expression you see sometimes on people's faces when you're walking down the street, where they just seem like robots. And that's because they're not really tuning into themselves. They don't know themselves. They don't know what they're here for. And so they're just going through the motions. And you don't want to go through the motions in a relationship, Aries. You want to have that juicy, fiery, passionate approach to life. Always be ignited with that other person. Now, if you have met an earth sign, that person may be much more subdued than you, but it could be, it is a possible thing that person compliments you in that they can steady you and keep you from getting too, like, I don't like to say overly optimistic or overly enthusiastic, because it's like, how can you be that? But you know what I'm saying, being too grandiose about things and not, unrealistic, and just being too rash. Somebody, if you have a good partner who compliments you well, they might say, whoa, Nelly, watch out. Don't just, just take your time and see if this pans out. Don't just jump into things. But, it all depends. I also feel that some of you may have been with a water sign person who just didn't do it for you. And that, so water is Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And that may be the person who is, you're having this issue with, this problem. But whoever it is, I think that you have the ability to rise above it. And I hope you enjoyed this, Aries. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great January. Bye.